can go ahead and put that away. And I have a few questions for y'all to see how much you remember from yesterday and from some of our work with algebra. So our first question is, when we simplify, why do we simplify? Hannah, make sure you stand when you answer.
To make it easier.
That's right, to make it easier. When we look at problems, we see that sometimes it's a whole lot easier if we subtract or multiply. And a lot of times we use our order of operations to simplify. Kathy, what acronym do we use to remember to simplify? Or when we remember to do our order of operations? Make sure you stand and then you answer.
I don't know.
You're not sure? Aloha, can you help her out?
The first one's parentheses.
The first one is parentheses. You're right about that. And remember, we had a nice thing that said, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, and I see Hannah over here. So what is our abbreviated with our letters together, Hannah?
PEMDAS.
PEMDAS, it is. So you knew that the first one was parentheses. Kathy, do you remember what the second one is, what our E stands for? I know you've been sick for a few days, so if you don't remember, Aloha has her hand raised. Can you help her out?
Exponents.
Exponents, that right? That's right. And then what about our M and our D, Hannah?
Multiplication and division.
That's right. And then we have A and S, Joy. Addition and subtraction. That's right. So Kathy, you'll want to make sure that we get you the notes from PEMDAS so you can remember how to use those. Now, should our steps when we're solving equations, you remember yesterday I gave us a nice little checklist that we could go through so we could solve our equations pretty quickly and pretty efficiently, and we had about 1 through 5 steps. Should those be followed in order, Hannah? Make sure you stand.
I think so.
You think so? Well, you do think correctly because we should be following those steps in order. We're going to review those steps again today, and we're going to go over them so they'll be part of your second nature. You'll just be flying through them when we're solving these problems. And then lastly, when we have an equation like this one up here, we know this is an equation because we have an equal sign and we have some terms. Can we start working this on either side? Can we work both sides of the equation, Aloha?
I mean,
Make sure you stand.
yes.
Yes, we can. We can work both sides of the equation. And we'll be looking at that today to see how we can solve either side. And if we do our arithmetic correctly, we can get our problem right. So it doesn't matter where we start. That's kind of the cool thing about our equations is it doesn't matter how Kathy does it, or it doesn't matter how I do it. As long as we do our arithmetic right and we follow our checklist, then we should get the same answer. So you can have a little bit of your own unique touch in our equation. So go ahead and open your books up to page 133. We've heard all the time, if you guys have played any sports, you've probably heard that practice makes perfect. Well, I don't really believe that practice makes perfect because we can't all be perfect. We know that. We know that we can strive to be like Jesus Christ, but we're never going to be perfect. But I have heard, my coach always told me in high school, that you play how you practice. So if you want to do well on our upcoming test, then we're going to want to practice and practice these equations to make sure we know how to do them well. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to practice them, we're going to go over them, so when we get there on a test, you already know how to take it, you already know how to do it. So go ahead and open your books up to page 133. And I have a few equations up here on the board that are not in the book, and we have some questions about these that we need to go over. First of all, we went over our steps to solving equations yesterday, and we said that we had 5 steps. And I know some of you are kind of confused about this, so we're going to go over them, and then I'll put our handy-dandy chart up on the side. So if you need to reference that as we're practicing today, you can do that. First of all, our first step is to always simplify each side. And I already asked Hannah some questions about what simplification meant, and you know that means just getting it smaller, doing the things that we already know how to do. The next step, Aloha, is to get the unknown alone by doing the opposite. Because remember, we talked about when we do the opposite, things cancel out. Then we said once we get the unknown alone, can I just do it to one side and not to the other side, Kathy?
No.
No, whatever we do to one side, we must do to the other. And then we solve for the unknown by our multiplication, our division, whatever it is, and then we always check our it important to check our answer, Hannah?
To make sure we got it right.
To make sure we got it right. That's right. Thank you for standing. So let's go ahead and look up here, and I'm just gonna stick this over here. You probably shouldn't need it too much, but now we have our solving equation steps. But go ahead and direct your attention this way. What is the first thing that I said we should always do when we have an equation? Aloha.
Isolate the variable.
Okay, isolate the variable, but even before we get to our variable, what should we do, Hannah?
Simplify each side.
We should simplify each side. So look up here, and we have a few things going on up here on this one. This 5x equals 9 plus 4x, Kathy. So we know that we're going to want to look for x. We're trying to figure out what x is. But our first step is to get everything together that is alike. Remember, we've been talking about like terms over and over. We've said if it's x's, then x's and x's can go together. Well, in this case, we have a couple x's up here, but they're not on the same side. So, Aloha, how can I get this 4x over here? This is what we talked about yesterday.
You subtract 4x from each side.
Right. So she wants to subtract 4x from both sides, and I say that's exactly what we should do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract 4x. Make sure you are writing this down on your paper and following along. So now that we have subtracted 4x from both sides, 5 minus 4x equals x equals 9. Because this drops out, we know that's 0. But I have a question. Why didn't I leave it like that? Why didn't I put the 1 right there, Hannah?
Because it's understood.
Because it's understood. So make sure when we're going through that we remember that. That's something that I'm sure you already knew, but we know we don't have to put that 1 there because we already have our x alone. So you see how simple as moving our 4x over, that gave us our answer. That gave us x equals 9. How many of you think x equals 9 is right? Raise your hand. Okay, I see everybody raising their hand, but we can just plug it in and see if we got it right. So we're going to evaluate our x at 9 in our original equation. So I would write out 5 times 9 equals 9 plus 4 times 9. And now we just have simple math, simple arithmetic, and we're going to follow that order of operations. Well, the first thing is to get rid of any parentheses, and in this case, our parentheses come as a multiplication. So we're going to go ahead and go 45, because 5 times 9 equals 45, equals, so we have 9 plus 36, because 4 times 9 equals 36. Well, what is 9 plus 36, class?
45.
45. Great participation. So 45 equals 45. Does that look like your answer checked out, Kathy?
Yes.
Yes. Did you have your hand raised?
I guess I was sure.
Yes, you may. So what is our final answer in this equation? Aloha.
X equals 9.
It's not 45 equals 45?
No.
Why not?
Because we're looking for x.
We're looking for x. This was just our check. That's a great job. Sometimes when I get in a hurry, I want to, I just erased all of that with my shoulder. That's great. So sometimes when I get in a hurry, I want to just circle this. So make sure whenever you do it on your test and your homework that you are circling the final answer, which is actually x equals 9. Hannah, go ahead and pay attention up here with us. And let's look at 4x minus 3 equals 2x plus 5. So we know that our first step when solving equations, Aloha,
Is to simplify. Simplify each side.
is to simplify each side. So we're going to look up here and we're going to go ahead and simplify. And we know that means doing any operations that we can already do. But I can just go ahead, okay, so I'm going to go, this will be 7x equals 7x, right? Everybody agree with me here? Okay, I saw some of you have started to say yes, but then I see some of you shaking your head. And Joy, what's wrong with 7x equals 7x? I just simplified each side. Thank you. Right, you're saying that I can't because those weren't like terms. We can only add or subtract like terms. And she's exactly right, and I know that's what all of you were thinking. And Kathy, what is wrong with 4x minus 3? Are those like terms?
No.
They're not. So we cannot do this. This is wrong, wrong, wrong. If you do this on the wrong answer, and we can't really work this out any further because, well, there's nothing to do. And then on the same side, we would just get 0 if we tried to move them. So, scratch that from your paper. That is not how we want to do it. Aloha, what do we want to do to simplify each side?
So you're gonna bring the variables together and it'll be without variables.
Right, so we're kind of going to change this around without changing our answer. Great job, you can have a seat. So how are we going to do that? Let me see. Maya, do you want to move our 4x over here, or do you want to move it on this side? Okay, she wants to keep the 4x on this side, so that's what we're going to do. So if we're going to leave the 4x over here, we need to get 2x over here. How do we get 2x over on the left side, Hannah?
Subtract 2x from both sides.
Subtract 2x from both sides. Very good. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 2x from both sides. So that's going to give us 2x minus 3 equals, oh, I almost wrote the 2x again, equals 5. So now it's starting to look a little more simple. It's starting to look like something we worked with and have worked with many times. So now we're just going to work on getting the unknown alone. And what is our unknown, Kathy, in this problem?
X, 2x.
Go ahead and stand and tell me what that answer is.
It's 2x.
It is 2x. We are looking for this x. That's exactly right. Thank you. So we are going to get the unknown alone by doing opposites. And what is the opposite thing I can do with this 3? Aloha.
You can add
You can add it. Why is that opposite?
because the opposite of subtraction is addition.
Is it just addition? That's right. We want to look at our operator, and that's how we know what the opposite's going to be. So we're going to add 3 to both sides, and that should give us 2x equals 8. Now we still have an unknown, Kathy. That 2x is still hanging around, and we need to get it by itself. And Kathy's already ready to stand up to tell me what to do. Go ahead, Kathy, and tell me what to do.
We divide 2 on both sides.
Right, we're going to divide 2 on both sides. Very good. So that those will cancel, and we'll get x equals 4, because 8 divided by 2 is 4, right, class?
Yes.
Okay, so now we have 4, and I want you all to go ahead and take our answer and plug it into the original and see if it checks out while I get it ready to go. Looks like everybody's at least gotten it plugged in so far. So when you went to plug it in, Hannah, is this what yours looked like? 4 times 4 minus 3 equals 2 times 4 plus 5? Is what everybody else got? Okay, great. So we're going to go ahead and simplify once again using all the things that we already know how to do. So 4 times 4, class?
16.
16 minus 3, class?
13.
Is 13. And then 2 times 4, Aloha?
2 times 4 equals 8.
Go ahead and stand.
2 times 4 equals
2 times 4 equals 8. Thank you. Plus 5
8. 13.
equals 13. So I think you all would agree that 13 equals 13. You can't get too much clearer than that. So we can put a nice little check and then circle our final answer. So y'all seem to have this down pretty well. You were just following our steps. We're simplifying each side. But some of our problems are going to get maybe a little bit bigger, or they might get smaller. There might be different operations that we have to take. So go ahead and turn back here. I know it's kind of a strain for you, but that's why we're going to work this way. So as we work forward, you don't have to strain your neck as much. So up here, I have 2x plus 3 equals 15. And I am looking for that unknown. So let's go ahead and Joy, tell me what is the first thing that you think we should do? Go ahead and stand and tell me. Okay, we want to simplify, but there's not a whole lot to simplify anymore right now. So what would the next step be? Okay, you're there. You want to get that unknown alone, that x. We have identified the x as our unknown, and Joy wants to get it alone by subtracting 3 from both sides. Great answer, Joy. You can go ahead and have a seat. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides, because plus 3, well, minus 3 is the opposite. So that would give us 2x, and then what is 15 minus 3, Hannah?
12.
It is 12. Great answer. So now we have 2x equals 12. Aloha, what do I need to do now? Make sure you're paying attention.
Now you need to divide both sides by 2,
Right, we want to divide both sides. Why are you dividing by 2?
because that's the opposite of multiplication.
It is the opposite of multiplication. And one last question. Oh, she already sat down. One last question. How did you know that we were multiplying?
Because whenever there's the number by a variable like that, it always is multiplication.
That's right. That is exactly right. So we're going to do what Aloha said and so divide by 2, and that will give us 6. X equals 6. So we're going to go ahead and plug it in real quick over here. So we would have 2 times 6 plus 3 equals 15. Well, this is pretty nice because we can just work straight across and we don't even have to do anything on that side. What is 2 times 6, Kathy? 12 plus 3? 15. Great job. So that gives us 15 equals 15. So y'all agree that 15 is equal to 15? Great job. And we have x equals 6 as our final answer. Go ahead and do number 2 on your paper. This one is a very simple one. You should be able to fly through this one and even check it. Should be pretty straightforward. And now that you have it written down and you're working on it, I'm going to work on it up here, and we'll see if we get the same answers. See some of y'all looking up here. Once you're done, you can go ahead and look your way, look my way. We have a few more. Joy's finishing up. Okay, so everybody go ahead and look at number 2. You've all finished it up. And if you got the x equals 15, go ahead and raise your hand to say, okay. And did you check it and see that 8 equals 8? All right, looks like y'all had that down pretty well. Now this next one has a little bit more to do, a little bit more in depth. So there's a few more simplifying that we have to do. And this is one of our first ones where we actually, Aloha, you may have a seat, don't stand without permission. We want to go ahead and simplify this, but there's things to do on both sides. So this is where you just kind of pick what side you want to simplify first. So Hannah, what side would you like to simplify?
This side.
Okay, she wants to simplify this side. Thank you. Well, there's more than one thing to do up here. So Kathy, what should we do to simplify this side of the equation? This is what Hannah wanted to do first, so that's what we're going to do.
3x minus 2x.
Okay, she wants to join our like terms. Great job. That's a great first start. And what is 3x minus 2x, Kathy?
X.
It is x. She went ahead and dropped that 1 because we know that it's there. So she said this was x plus 4 equals 15 divided by 3. But we could go ahead and simplify this side, right? Because that's a simple one. So Joy, what is 15 divided by 3? You had 5. That's what I had too. So I'm just going to erase that to save us some space up here at the board. So we have x plus 4 equals 5. Well, now it's pretty simple. We're just going to get the unknown alone by doing opposites. But if everybody look up here and see, we just did a few things and took this long equation with a couple of different terms and something on this side. It was looking pretty daunting, and we were able to get it down to one that's very simple. Looks like the very first ones that we started out with. So what are we going to do now, Aloha, to get the x all by itself?
So we're going to subtract 4 from both sides.
Right, so we would have minus 4, and that gives us x equals 1. I think we would all agree. Great job, Aloha. And we can plug it in and see that 3 times 1 minus 2 times 1 plus 4 equals, I'm going to go ahead and put our 5 because we know that 15 divided by 3 is 5. 3 times 1, class?
3.
Minus 2?
2, 1.
3 minus 2 is 1 plus 4, class?
5.
Is 5 equals 5. So we know that our answer was correct. So your books are open to page 133. Go ahead and look there. And you're going to be working on problems 4, 5, and 6 at your desk. We already did 1 through 3. So you're going to work on 4, 5, and 6. lesson in just a few minutes, so you can go ahead and pack up and get ready for that. Make sure that you finish all of those problems that we had to do. Hannah, you can go ahead and do number 5 at the sideboard right here, and then she just left. Kathy, you can go ahead and do number 6 on this board over here.
Number 6.
Yes, number 6. Okay, make sure if you need to erase, you use the eraser, not your fingers, because that makes it a little harder. Make sure you're working on 4 through 6. And I'll take this, and you can see me after class. You need to be working on the problems in your book, 4 through 6. Okay, Kathy, you can go ahead and stay where you are once you get finished up. Hannah, go ahead and make your way to the board. What number did you do, Hannah?
I think I was on the wrong page.
Okay, you did number 4.
On page 132.
Okay, yes, you did the wrong page. That's okay. I'll just give y'all the answer for the next one for sake of time. Great job, Hannah, on your work. Go ahead and show us what you did on this one, and we'll check and make sure that you did it right since nobody else did this problem. So make sure you're following along with Hannah on her number 4. What did you get, Hannah? She had x plus 2x equals 15.
I just added my x's on the left side to simplify it, and then I can divide 3 on both sides to get x equals 5. And then I plugged it and checked it, and it checked.
It did check. I think she did that one right. Good job. You can erase that and make sure that you're doing work on page 134. Make sure you're paying attention when that page number is called out. You can erase quickly and have a seat. Number 4, our number 4 that we did on page 134, you should have gotten x equals 4. And if you checked it, you should have gotten 9 equals 9. Then number 5 should be x equals 5. So number 5, the answer is number 5. And your check should be 16 equals 16. Sometimes you can get different checks and you didn't do your arithmetic quite right. So that's why I'm calling that out. Now, Kathy has number 6 for us, and she did the right one. So go ahead and show us how you got your answer.
So it's 3x minus 5 equals x plus 3, and I tried to simplify it, and so you have to get the variable by itself. So I subtracted x on both sides, and I put 2x minus 5 equals 3. Then I did add 5 on both sides, so I got 2x equals 8. Then I divided 2 on both sides, and x equals 4. Then I plugged it in, and 3 times 4 minus 5 equals 4 plus 3. So started parentheses, got 12 minus 5, which is 7, and I just added 4 and 3, which is 7.
That's exactly how I did it. That looks great. Thank you. And you can have, so go ahead and erase what you have there, and you can have a seat. Now we're going to move on to the next slide. We're just going through these problems one by one, working on them. So we're going to work, go ahead and have a seat. We're going to work on 7 through 9. 7, 8, and 9. And then I'll have some of you putting them on the board here in just a moment. But go ahead and work on page 7, not on page. Go ahead and work on numbers 7, 8, and 9 on page 134. Hannah, make sure you're working on page 134. Kathy, you can put 7 up here on the sideboard. And Jenna, you can go ahead and put 9 up here on the sideboard as well. If you're not at the board, still continue working diligently on the work that we have 7 through 9. You can do it. Thank you for asking. Once you're done, you can just stay at the board. I think most of us have finished up our 3 at our desk. Jen, you're doing number 9. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Number 9, that's what I thought. Thank you. Okay, are you settled on your answer, Kathy?
Yeah.
Okay, she is. So Kathy, go ahead and show us what you did.
So have 12 equals 5x plus 4 minus 4x. So first step is to simplify. So you can take 5x minus 4x, which is x, plus 4 equals 12. And then you still want to get the x, the variable by itself. So you subtract 4 on both sides, and 8 equals x. Then you plug it back in, and 12 equals 5 times 8 plus 4 minus 4 times 8. Gets you 40 plus 4 minus 32. That's 12 equals 12.
That is exactly right. Did everybody have x equals 8 or x equals 8 in Kathy's case, which we could have worked it either way. That's the question I asked you at the beginning of class. We can work those equations from both sides. So if Kathy just kept it where it was and she got the exact same answer as anyone else would have. Great job, Kathy. You can erase that and have a seat. Number 8, we didn't do at the board. Number 8, you should have gotten y equals 9/7. So that one was a little bit tricky. That one had some fractions in there. So y equals 9/7, and then when you plug that in, you should have gotten 10 and 6/7 equals 10 and 6/7. So I hope you all figured that one out with our fractions. Jen, I had number 9 up here at the board. Go ahead and show us what you did.
For number 9, I had 3x plus 8 equals 20, and I subtracted 8 from both sides, so then I got 3x equals 12, and to get the variable by itself, I divided both sides by 3, so then I got x equals 4, and then I plugged it in everywhere I saw an x, and then I had 3 times 4 plus 8 equals 20, 3 times 4 is 12, plus 8 equals 20, so each side equals 20, so the answer was x equals 4.
The answer was x equals 4. That's exactly what I had. Class, do you agree? Everybody agrees with you, Jenna. Great job. You can erase that, and y'all can both have a seat. Thank you for your work at the board. Go ahead and let's look at one last one, and we're going to do this one together because it has a lot to do in it. It has a lot that we need to simplify and a lot that we need to finish up. So we're going to do 11 together very quickly. Not 11. Yes, 11. So we had 9x minus 4x equals, oh, I forgot one, plus 6 equals 21. Did I copy that down right? Okay, I think so. So we're going to go ahead and go through our steps, and we're going to simplify. Joy, what is our first step on simplifying this equation? That's right. She says we want to do 9 minus 4x and 9x minus 4x. And why can we do that, Hannah?
Because they're the same term.
Right, we have like terms. So she said Joy said we have 5x plus 6 equals 21. Well, we still don't have our 5x by itself. Or better yet, we don't even have x by itself. So what do we need to do, Kathy, to get 5x alone?
Subtract 6 on both sides.
That's right. Subtract 6 on both sides. So we have 5x equals, what is 21 minus 6, class? 15, that's right. We're staying quick on our arithmetic, so we have 15, and now we can just do a quick divide by 5, and then we'll cancel everything out. So we'll get x equals 3. Now we can go ahead and plug this in. We'll have 9 times 3 minus 4 times 3 plus 6, and all of that should give us 21. Well, let's do our arithmetic. 9 times 3, class?
27.
Is 27. And then 4 times 3, class?
12.
Is 12 plus 6. And now we can just go straight across. 27 minus 12, class? See some of y'all working with that. Is 15, and that is right. Plus 6 should give us 21. And so that is right. Our answer is x minus 3. You can go ahead and close your books. Take out your homework notebooks. We're going to be doing sharpening skills 2 through 28 even. 2 through 28 even on page 135. You all can pack up and be dismissed.